so I'll type in. Let's do a group of death first. So TSM versus Samsung Galaxy. The thing about TSM versus Samsung Galaxy is, while Cuvée is pretty bad, or well, relative to other top laners that exist inside of Korea, I don't think that Hauntzer is going to be able to do what he was able to do in NA. And so I think that that's pretty standard. The most problematic thing, though, is Bjergsen. Crown is the best mechanical mid laner in the world right now. If you've watched Crown's games and you've actually watched how the guy maneuvers his champion and just everything that he does, he is the best mechanical mid. Well, that I know of. I mean, watching the Korean region, he was the best mechanical mid in Korea, and I'm very doubtful that, you know, China has a mid laner that's going to be better. So anyways, Crown is the best mechanical mid. That really hurts Bjergsen. The other thing is Ruler and Wraith. Wraith is going to outclass Biofrost, and I think that Double Lift can have an edge over Ruler, potentially. But if it's very standard cookie cutter matchups down there in bottom lane, or if the team comps are very standard and cookie cutter, then Samsung just has an edge over TSM, primarily because of Crown. Because I think Crown denies Bjergsen's ability to be Bjergsen, at least during the laning phase and, you know, maybe shortly after the laning phase. Even after that, I don't think that Bjergsen is going to have the ability to mechanically play team fights as well as Crown does. And Samsung does also have a much stronger late game than TSM. So I think that this matchup is heavily influenced by team comps, and how everything is going to go there. Svenskeren can potentially keep up with Ambition. Ambition's not like some super spectacular jungler or anything like that. He's obviously not going to be like Peanut. Or like Beyond, or I think it's actually interesting that some of Korea's best junglers are not going, you know, they're not actually at Worlds. In fact, I would even say that some of Korea's worst junglers, well, yeah, actually, Korea's worst junglers are at Worlds, Blank and Bengi. Well, at least from the, you know, the upper half teams. So there's that. So that's TSM versus Samsung Galaxy. And now TSM versus RNG, I can't really form too much of an opinion on this. Except for the fact that everything that I've heard about Lsxyzcoaching would indicate that he should be significantly better than Svenskeren. And then it's the Uzi and Mata show. Looper is basically a super Hauntzer, from everything that I've heard, and also the few things that I have seen. So there is that component as well. So then it comes down to Double Lift and Biofrost versus Uzi and Mata. And I don't know how Uzi and Mata are performing right now, but if we look at, you know, what is likely to be the AD carry, you know, champion pool here, I'm gonna pull this up really quick. So the AD, well, actually, no, I'm not gonna show this on stream. Oh, well, maybe I will. Hold on. So hold on 1 second, friends. Can't seem to get ADC to show. Or just ADC. Oh, we got it. Okay, so this, well, fuck. But anyways, so this is probably going to be the most potent AD carries at Worlds. Ashe, Ezreal, Jhin, Lucian. They will probably be the focus points. Now, also inside of Worlds, Koreans and Chinese are also probably going to bring Twitch. So that's something that NA and EU probably they can't bring. On top of that, another thing that Koreans can bring, I'm not sure about China, and I know for sure NA and EU can't, is Kog'Maw. So there's gonna be some wonky, you know, aspects to Korea versus the West. That is going to offer, or it's going to give Korea an edge in terms of some champion picks. And then obviously there's going to be people like, well, don't NA have any, good champion picks? We picked Olaf. No, Olaf's not a good pick. Okay, Olaf's a bad pick. Olaf is going to be what Trundle was in Season 4 when it was picked massively in NA and EU and then didn't fucking show its face at Worlds. Okay, so Olaf's a bad pick. So that's what Olaf's going to be. But Korea is going to have a little bit more of a deep champion pool, and they're going to have a little bit of an edge over, some of the bottom lane matchups. I think that anything that they encounter. So it's like there's that. Now, TSM versus Splice, I just expect TSM to take the cake. I watched 2 of Splice's games when they were, qualifying for Worlds, and that was just, I mean, it wasn't really anything. So there's that. So I think that this really comes down to TSM versus RNG. If TSM can actually overcome RNG, then I think they go up with Samsung Galaxy. I do not think that Samsung Galaxy drops to TSM here, because I just think that Samsung Galaxy is too solid to drop to TSM. I would be very, very, very surprised if TSM actually managed to overcome Samsung Galaxy, and that's primarily because of the crown component. So there's that. Then we go to what's another group? We have like SKT versus Cloud9. We don't even really need to talk about this, because as bad as Bengi and Blank are, relative to Korea and, some of the Chinese junglers, most notably, obviously, Clearlove, or Lsxyzcoaching, whatever, Meteos, I just don't think that he does anything phenomenal, and I don't think that his mechanics are very good, and so he ends up being a worse version of Bengi and Blank, almost. Even if maybe in some areas he's able to be a little bit more intelligent, when you have Faker and Duke telling you what to do, because I don't think that the SKT junglers make their own calls. So what ends up happening is what should be the main weakness of SK Telecom in this matchup is not actually a weakness, which is pretty bad. And then you have Faker versus Jensen, and again, Korea is going to have some picks in the mid lane that maybe the West won't use. For instance, we even saw inside of the league scrims that Faker is continuing to play Azir. I also think that the other Korean teams will also play Azir. I don't think that that's just something relative to SK Telecom's champion pool. That's SK Telecom versus Cloud9, I think, in a nutshell. Sneaky and Smoothie are not going to do anything against, Bang and Wolf, whatever, okay? And then, obviously, Duke up there in the top lane is going to have his way with Impact. And Impact, I guess, is like Cloud9's saving grace at this point, excluding Jensen. But I don't think that Impact is going to be able to do what he was able to do, obviously leading up for Cloud9 qualifying for Worlds. Now, Flash Wolves, all they really have is Maple. I don't think that, anything else that they have is really that impressive. Meeting a lot of them in solo queue, I don't feel like, it's weird. Maple's basically their star. Outside of Maple, I don't think that they have anything else. So, it becomes like TSM before they got double lift. It's literally Bjergsen versus the world. And so that's basically what Flash Wolves are. The problem is that I think that Jensen is on par or probably even better than Maple. And then outside of that, I think that Cloud9 can actually beat Flash Wolves. I cannot make an opinion on it because I have absolutely no fucking idea about anything about that team. I literally have no fucking clue about their entire gameplay. So, I mean, yeah. Karsa, no. Karsa is not, no. Nope. No. Karsa's not, I know people talk about Karsa, I don't think that Karsa is very good. And everything I've seen in solo queue, there's not really any mechanical impressiveness coming from him. So that's Group B. Okay. Well, I can't make a comment on the third team. So now we move over to Group C. So you have EDG, so you have Deft Mako, and you have H2K, so they have God Given, They have Yankos, and they have Ryu. H2K, I guess, is pretty solid. They're not going to lose to Brazil. And I think that Ryu is obviously going to outclass Westor on AHQ. I think God-Given and Vander probably win the bottom lane also in that matchup. I just can't see H2K winning against EDG, though, because Yankos is not going to beat Clearlove. And if that's going to be the case as well, then I think Clearlove, in the current meta, with mid and top lane and how the jungler is going to interact going into Worlds, it's going to be really problematic. So, with that being said, I think that EDG takes first and H2K takes second in Group C. Then we move over to Group A. And barring a CLG Cinderella fucking story, I think it's always going to go Rocks Tigers G2 getting out of this group. And fucking Albus Dumbledore right there, the village mattress at the very bottom. I mean, that's literally hold on. What was the name of hold on, Jaedong versus Invader Zim. Yes. Okay. So if you've never watched, okay, so this was an actual interview that he got in trouble for. He said the opponent played like the computer. Okay? So there was a guy that got seeded into Jaedong's group at WCG, and Jaedong said that he thought he was playing against a bot. So I mean, I guess that's what Rocks Tigers is probably gonna think when they go up against Albus Dumbledore. Zim Zalabim, was that his ID? Oh man. So I guess that's probably gonna be Group A. I can't see CLG making it out. The primary reasoning for that is because I think that honestly, Huni is outclassed by most mid laners at Worlds. Xmithy, I mean, I don't think he does anything on the world stage. They have Aphromoo. Aphromu's a god. But the other problem with Stixxay is, again, the AD carry meta that is being switched up, and the way that the jungle and mid meta is going to be as we approach Worlds. That's probably going to be a lot more problematic for Stixxay as well, just given what we've seen of his champion pool and his performance in NALCS this past split. Hui, not Huni. Sorry. Yeah. So I mean, that's the group drawings.